I love when I have a great album like this is a Control album. I bought that on vinyl because you want something tangible sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And I think also that's a great marketing strategy when you allow some tangible items to be sold. So you see a lot going on with, quotes.
You are now listening to the BV Mobile Apps Podcast. The show is designed to help you grow your mobile app audience and get advice from experts in your industry. Now, here's your host, Sean Garvey.
That is right, folks. Welcome to the BV Mobile Apps Podcast with your host, the architect here, Sean Garvey. Now, I want you guys to stay tuned because we're going to give you some more information on what you need to do to get your app customized through BV Mobile Apps. That's right, folks. It is the BV Mobile Apps Podcast, courtesy of BV Mobile Apps, where we are the home for a lot of great content here. And we also not only create apps for iPhone and Android, but we also create apps for the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Apple Watch. We got a special guest on the live line right here on the BV Mobile Apps Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. He is an artist from Queens, New York, by way of the ATL, Stone Mountain, Georgia, of course, and he has worked with some of the best producers in the industry. He recently released a album called 96, and we're going to talk about that and more. So today's topic for the BV Mobile Apps Podcast is marketing strategies for content creators. So all of my creators out there, if you're looking to enhance your content, this is the podcast for you to get all of the details on more on how you can make your content the way you want it to be. So without further ado, I would like to bring to you Marcel Alexander. Good day, Marcel. How are you doing?
Good, Sean. Thank you very much for having me, man. I really, really appreciate it. What an intro. Wow. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Hey, you are the man of the hour on the BV Mobile Apps Podcast here, and we definitely are just so honored to have you on the podcast. You've been doing a lot, and I'm glad that you are here to give information to up-and-coming creators or people who are already creating great things, whether it's in music or in other forms of media and entertainment, so information on how they can step up their marketing skills. But before we go more into detail about the fundamentals of marketing strategies for content creators, let's learn a little bit more about you. You released an album called 96 of last year, and when I think of the numbers 9 and 6 or altogether 96, I'm thinking of either the year 1996 or some interstate in the country, I-96 or something like that. But so talk to us, what inspired that album and what artists inspired you while you were creating it?
Well, thank you very much. It was basically a concept album, right? So I sampled different songs from 1996, and I just made them my own. So it's like maybe a time capsule. I sampled Tony Braxton, Groove Theory, Outkast, and other artists. And I just wanted to, as I said, do a time capsule, but take those songs how they would sound like today. And 1996 was a special year for me. The Olympics was here in Atlanta. Outkast was doing big things. The music industry was popping, you know what I'm saying? And it was just a great time. Unfortunately, I wasn't here for the Olympics. I was back in New York for the entire summer, and it sucked that my parents shipped me out to New York because I didn't know how rare the Olympics was, Like, it was here in the city that I live in, but it was a definitely special year for the city and a special year for me.
Yeah, and it was definitely a great year, too, for a lot of hip-hop albums to come out that year. I believe ATLians came out that year, Outkast. A lot of great albums from East Coast to West Coast, even down here in the South, like I mentioned, Outkast. And can you think of some more?
Album-wise, off the top, no. I just know like a couple songs. I sampled Faith Evans as soon as I get home. I sampled Groove Theory. I sampled Tony Braxton. I sampled Outkast, Me and You. And I had like a couple snippets of Tupac and also Jay-Z on the project.
Yeah. Yeah. Some great names.
Oh, yeah, for sure. What was special for me about the project was having Hall of Famer Grant Hill on there telling the story about how he met Tamia in 1996. And having Steve Smith, ATL Hawks, Atlanta Hawks GOAT, telling how he met his wife in 1996 as well. So those were dope stories to hear as interludes, and I really appreciate them taking the time out to be on the project.
Definitely. And we got to give credit when credit is due, because you worked with several producers that have worked with a lot of big names, from Rihanna to the Migos. We can go on and on and on, and we'll definitely get into that in just a few moments. But since the show is about marketing strategies, and I'm glad that we took a time machine for a moment to 1996. I remember a time, and I know you remember this as well, before social media, one of the most, I would say, powerful marketing strategies that we have seen from artists back then were the TV ads. I remember watching TV commercials of artists that were getting their albums promoted by the big record labels, whether it was Def Jam or Bad Boy or So Def, to name a few. And we look at the TV commercials and they telling us, hey, you know, this artist is dropping a new album this week or on this date, what have you. It was only like a 30-second spot. And yep. I will be like, that is so dope how they did that. And then we can go all the way back before those mid-90s, early 90s TV commercial ads. You know how when they issued the vinyl, they distribute the vinyl, and they tell you that you got to call this 1-800 number to have the vinyl shipped to you. So we went from that to seeing the TV commercial ads, the 30-second spots of artists getting their albums, their CD, tape cassettes promoted. Fast forward to now, we don't see any of that anymore in the 21st century. Digital. It's all digital now. Social media.
But artists do go back to those. I love when I have a great album like SZA's Control album. I bought that on vinyl because it's just so, you want something tangible sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And I think also that's a great marketing strategy when you allow some tangible items to be sold. So you see a lot going on with, clothing. Travis Scott his merch sells out every time. Sometimes when drop a project, he just has merch. And that's like a lot of people are going towards that e-commerce because everything's digital right now. And going back to those old commercials, what you said, I had a commercial that I did. You remember those Now commercials where they'll just sell you like a whole bunch of songs on one CD?
Yeah.
So I did a Now spot for Instagram. I did Now 96, and I shot 4 different videos, but not full videos. It's like maybe like 20 seconds to a minute of 4 different songs on my project, shot to 4 Brown Media, and we put it together for Now 96. Like, download, order right now. Now 96, Marcel Alexander, featuring Faith in Me, featuring Me and You, featuring Tell Me. And it was a funny thing to do, and I feel like a lot of people appreciated, that throwback vintage type of marketing. And we also sponsored it on Instagram so we can get more insights, more views across the world.
Yeah, absolutely. The game has changed now, and I like how you went about going on that route to get your album, to get your project marketed, and that was actually my next question to you when it comes to marketing strategies. And so, were there any additional marketing strategies that you used to do to help get your album promoted? And did you have anybody or other people on your team, whether they were your producers or people that are a part of your camp, did they also go out and help promote the album as well? So let's talk about the marketing strategies and what other additional methods you use to get your album promoted.
Got you. So one of my marketing strategies was to throw an event, right? So I had a house party, a listening party. At my event, catered free drinks as well, and I also showed my video Higher for the first time. So you want those 1% of friends to come in, kick it with you, listen to your music, and they'll be like willing to post, and they're sharing those experiences and tagging you, very importantly, tagging you on their Instagram, so you get more looks from your circle. So I did that, and another part of the marketing strategy, it was a house party, but I wanted to dress it up. So I had a photo shoot, and I made different, magazine covers. So I made sure I was on the cover of Source magazine, because it's a time capsule, right? I was on the cover of Source. Mm-hmm. I was on the cover of Vibe. I was on the cover of Word Up. And I printed these out, and I put them up, and framed them and put them up on my wall, just something more cool for people to look at, take photos of, and whatnot. And as far as digital marketing, I luckily, one of my best friends has his own music marketing company, Organic Music Marketing, and they helped me with placement and Google Ads. So I was getting Google Ads run on my music videos and placements on Spotify. And it's a great company. Go to organicmusicmarketing.com and look at the different packages that they offer, and they really helped me out getting my music out there.
So you took advantage of the digital platforms that you use to get your album and your project or projects out there to the masses.
For sure.
And so social media, like I said, we have went from the older days of how artists and the labels and the companies went about promoting their albums to now social media. Tell us specifically, especially on social media, what social media platforms did you use to get your album promoted out there? And how did you go about getting the album promoted on social media? Talk to us about the technical aspect of it and what platforms you benefited off of getting your album pushed out there to the masses and to the people.
Well, I think right now the number one app for me is Instagram, and which is also Facebook is bought by Facebook. So on Instagram, if you are a business profile, you can sponsor your post and tailor it to whatever you want: age, demographic, what country, what state, what city, what your budget is. I can put only $10 down and let it run for a week, and it'll work my $10, and then give me expectations. So you putting down $10, you putting down 20 or 30, these should be your expectations. Make things a lot easier because they're all at the click of your phone. So I really appreciate Instagram for that, and it tells you it gives you those analytics, this person from this country, this state, male, female, looked at the post, clicked the post, they went to the website and whatnot. It's also attached to your Facebook. So these ads are coming up on Facebook, and they're coming up on Instagram feed and Instagram story. And it's very easy, and it's very, I recommend it, and it's also allocated towards your budget. So you can put $5 down on a post, and you can possibly get 1,000, clicks, 1,000 likes just for $5, and have it work that $5 for 2 or 3 days. And it's very simple, it's very easy. And I always tell people, are you a business on your Instagram? Because if you're not a business, you can't sponsor posts. But the one thing I don't like about it is it has to be a post. You can't sponsor Instagram TV. And also right now, Reels is a big thing because Instagram's competing with TikTok. You can't sponsor those posts. But Reels, right now I'm learning that Reels is where I need to be at. I need to do more Reels, getting more looks, more likes, and more visual aspects. Because Reels now go on the Explore page a lot more. So you're getting people from everywhere looking at your Reels, and those numbers are a lot higher than posts and sometimes stories.
That's definitely true. That's definitely true. And, social media can have some restrictions, of course, especially as an artist. You have to be mindful of what you put out there on social media, because Instagram could send you a notification and saying you're not supposed to post this out there. They could flag you down, and especially if you're using other people's original works, copyright infringement, and other things that are involved in that. What are some other things that people need to stay away from when they are promoting their album on social media?
Try to stay away from profanity as much as you can. If you have, first and foremost, when you're doing a project or album, you should have a DJ pack, right? So your DJ pack has your mains, your acapellas, your beats, and your clean. So you should have clean music of your tracks. And sometimes you could just do a snippet. If you don't have a clean, just do a snippet of a verse, a snippet of a hook where there's no curse words, so you won't get flagged. And if it's original content, you won't get flagged. Now, if you're trying to market a cover song, that may be tough because, you may get flagged for it being not your content. I don't like to, sometimes I don't put money towards a post where I'm rapping over a Drake beat because it's like hit or miss. You never know when it comes to Instagram. And I still get flagged for stuff I posted 5 years ago. Like, this is not your original song. Like, okay, cool.
Right.
But definitely, do that and make sure, like, quality, people are going to be attracted to quality that's on your feed, and also hashtags. I know sometimes people don't like to put hashtags within the post. That's fine. It's not a problem. You can put hashtags in the comments to still, get on that hashtag feed for sure. So definitely hashtags, good content, and original content.
All right. Well, there you have it for this particular part of the BV Mobile Apps podcast. And in case you are just tuning in to the BV Mobile Apps podcast, I am your host, Sean Garvey, and my special guest is musical artist Marcel Alexander. And we're talking about, yes, sir, and we're talking about marketing strategies for content creators. If you are a new and beginning content creator looking to get your content out there, we are giving you some of the key steps in enhancing how you go about marketing your content online via social media and other platforms available. And speaking of social media, Marcel, you have over 11,000 followers. That's a lot of people. 11,000 followers on Instagram. And the content on your IG is of very high quality, I must say. So do you have any strategies that you can share when it comes to creating post stories? Let's talk about that.
It all starts with the quality of photo you take. Instagram is originally a photo-based application. And quality of video, I think that's the first step. There's a lot of good cameras out here that are phones now. I'm about to upgrade my iPhone X to iPhone 12 Max because the picture quality is just amazing. So I think that's honestly the first step. As far as followers, I don't know, hashtags and the content that you put out, and also I like to go out. I like to mingle here in Atlanta. I'm meeting people. I'm networking. Like, yo, what's your Instagram? I'm going to follow. I'm going to follow you, off rip. Sometimes I may not follow the person because of their content like that they have. It's something that I'm not liking. I'll unfollow. But most of the time I'm going to follow you if I connect with you. Mm-hmm. So that's also a thing, like going out, meeting people, and you'll never know who you may meet. Like I went to one 21 Savage party. I just started talking to a young female, just commenting on her outfit that looked lovely, and I gave her my Instagram. She followed me, like she had 121,000 followers. I'm like, wow. And next thing you know, I found out it's Delicious's daughter. I'm like, oh, wow, that's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
so her name's Jasmine, real cool girl, does makeup. She does content as well, fire content. Always commenting on people's posts, sharing people's posts. Because if I share one of my friends' posts, more than likely they're going to repost it on their story, and people are going to see my page. So always that, showing love, what I'm saying, but genuine. I don't expect them to repost it. I just do it out of, that's my guy, that's my girl. I'm going to, show love, whatever you're doing, and post it on my story. And more than likely, they're going to repost it. So that's more eyes going towards your page.
Yeah. Yeah. More eyeballs, more traffic to your page. Yes. And that's what the end game is. Well, part of it is, of course, content creators want to also make money off of their content as well. Yeah. But we want to make sure though that we get the traffic in, we get the eyeballs to come to a person's site or a person's platform. Without the eyeballs, you're not going to be able to make any money or capitalize off of what you are creating as a content creator. So we'll talk a little bit about that towards the end of the podcast. But what tips do you have for people who are trying to create high quality content for social media? Like I said, the game has changed now. It was a lot more intuitive back in the day when you had to use so much of this and so much of that. But now we got camera phones. We got all this high-end equipment that we didn't have 30, 40 years ago. So what tips do you care to share to our listeners who are trying to create high-quality content for social media?
Well, first and foremost, you got to invest in yourself, right? You got to have quality camera, quality material. So I would invest in a good camera. You don't have to get a Sony. You don't have to get a Canon DSLR. You can just get a phone, because most of the people are making posts off their phone, and I feel like a lot of people enjoy that more because it's organic. It's organic posts, live in action. Tripod, lighting, like simple things they can get off Amazon don't really cost too much, and a lot of these things come together. Like your tripod, your lighting, like $40 all from Amazon, and there you go. Like you're good to go. And a lot of these apps are getting so like dope, where you have different effects that you can just do on your phone. You don't have to like buy green screens anymore. Like, even though that's a good asset to have a little green screen backdrop, but there's so many different effects on your phone. There's so many different applications that you can use for editing and whatnot on your phone that it's really at the tip of your fingers. It makes things a lot easier. The hardest thing is just consistency, and keep getting that content out, because you're competing against millions of people who do dope things on their phone and are so creative and are making so much content. And I would say also collab with people, because you're getting their audience, they're getting your audience, and that can make both of your audiences bigger.
Yeah. Hey, the more the merrier, especially when it comes to social media. Your content has to be up to par. It can't look like it's too low budget. But you said a very key word you just used just now, and that was invest. And I think I'm starting to see a lot more people that are serious about being content creators going out and getting the proper equipment to execute their projects than ever before. If you're using or renting out somebody else's space or equipment, you making that person rich. Why not make yourself rich as a content creator? So I definitely get that. Now, for a little bit, let's talk about specific tools and or apps that one can use to create posts or videos. Are there any specific tools or apps that one can use to produce that kind of content online on social media?
I like Visco, VSCO. It's a good editing app, quick edits for photos. I like Parallax. It's like a 3D motion for your photos. It makes it like move like back and forth or up and down. As far as video editing, I don't really video edit on my phone. I do it on my desktop. But Premiere, like Adobe Suites, is very, very well to have, and it also you're making it a lot easier for your phone for Adobe, the whole Adobe Suite. So like Photoshop, Lightroom, and Premiere. I'm still learning. You know, I gotta find some apps myself for more content creation. Cause I'm making this like I'm getting more into doing this like full time type of thing. So I gotta do my research and invest in a better camera. You know what I'm saying, and learn more about these different apps that can put some money in my pocket.
Absolutely, man. Now let's just switch gears for one moment and switch from talking about apps to TV. TV is never, ever going to go away. And throughout the years, we always seen TV elevate and grow into something a lot more different than ever before, whether it's images, graphics, the technical stuff that you and I know, being that we're both in broadcasting and we're both artists as well. So we've seen the evolution of television. You create content for television as a artist, and you recently were a PA, which is short for production assistant, on the critically acclaimed documentary, The Inside Story. And I've heard a little bit about The Inside Story, but for many of our BV Mobile Apps podcast listeners that are not too familiar about The Inside Story, what is the documentary all about?
So the doc is about the best sports show on TV for the last 30 years, and that's Inside the NBA on TNT, Thursday nights, sometimes Tuesday. Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, and the Diesel, Shaq. And in 2019 was the 30th anniversary of the show being created, and I was selected by Audrey Martin to help her. You know, she's producing the project, to be a PA for the project. And it was a blessing because I grew up watching this show. I'm a sports guy. I played basketball as my first love. So being a part of this historic show and documentary meant the world to me. And also, like, shout out to my guy, DJ Yogi, who's a editor, Peter Dennis, Yogi on the show.
Yeah.
My guy, yes. He put one of my songs on episode 1, The Traffic Cop with Ernie Johnson. And that was just a blessing, like, in itself. Like, shout out to Yogi. I owe him some drinks. I owe him something, some dinner or something, man, because that's something I manifested, but not to that capacity. I always wanted to have one of my songs as like a feature going into a game, like those little teasers for games and whatnot. But God had bigger plans. It's on a documentary that will live on forever. That's on HBO Max right now, so you can check it out. It's a 4-part series, an hour each. Each episode's broken down for each person. So Ernie has one, Kenny and Chuck and Shaq, but it's also updated. So we wanted to release this in 2019 playoffs of 2020, but COVID happened. So did more work, got more interviews, and it shows you about what's going on about last year. So it was a really great documentary. Audrey, she did her thing. She produced the heck out of it. Leroy and Peter edited the heck out of it, and Peter Raderich directed the heck out of it. So
yeah,
it was dope.
Yeah, I got to do a shameless plug real quick, and then we'll get back into the topic at hand. DJ Yogi, me and him go way back, and he appeared on my morning show that I do outside of the BB Mobile Apps podcast for our Casual Conversation reunion, almost 20 years in the making. And Yogi is a great guy and a great person to have when it comes to producing content. He makes great content, and I'm glad that you and him worked side by side to making this story, this documentary, come to life. And if you want to check out that episode on the morning show, the Beat Break Morning Show. It's on demand, beatbreakradiofm.com, and on the podcast FM app, courtesy of BV mobile apps. So I just thought I'd shoot that plug right there real quick for all of our BV mobile apps listeners out there. So big shout outs to Yogi. But I wanted to find out a little bit more about the documentary and for content creators to know more about the inside story, because I mentioned it being critically acclaimed. And so for a documentary to be critically acclaimed, you have to put a lot into it. You have to have a team, and you have to have a lot of things involved when it comes to executing a project for it to be critically acclaimed. So what all goes into producing great content like The Inside Story, which of course you just mentioned is on HBO Max, a very huge platform. But what all goes into producing great content, especially on a TV platform like HBO Max? We want to know, like, what hours are invested, what all takes place.
Well, like, when working with a show like that, like this show wins a lot of Emmys every year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think recently, this past year, the show just won like over 8 Emmys. So it's just easy in the sense that Ernie, Shaq, Chuck, and Kenny, they just sell themselves. But right now, we had to build a story, right? What goes on behind the scenes. Like Ernie, like sometimes people forget Ernie had cancer in 2006, same with what went on, during that. And just, showing all the different people who are part of producing the show, the directors, the editors, the camera people, the family, and just showing that behind the scenes. Because sometimes as a consumer, as a fan, we want to know those things. And I feel like the documentary definitely showed that. It showed how much of a family this place is at TNT, and also what all the work that goes on behind the scenes, and some funny stories and stuff that we may not know. And my role in it was, as I said, a production assistant. So I'm gathering all the tape, all the footage, going back from 1989 to current day, and logging that footage and sending it off to the editor, sending it off to the producer. And like Yogi may hit me up like, yo, Marcel, do you have this or that? I go on my log, my guest is right here. It's like, oh, thank you, appreciate it. So that was my role, and it was fun to go back and just watch these old episodes of the guys.
Definitely. And if people want to know more information about The Inside Story, they can go to tntdrama.com/The Inside Story. Once again, that is tntdrama.com/The Inside Story. Marcel, I know you got to go. Just a few more minutes with you on the BV Mobile Apps podcast with your host, Sean Garvey, where we are the official mobile app provider for the Fleet DJs, Nerve DJs, and Core DJs. I want to ask you really quick. I know it took well over a year to get the final version of The Inside Story on the air. What was it like for you when it finally aired? What was that moment that you had?
Man, that moment was so special. One of the best moments, of my life, for sure. Just to see it, to see all your work that you've done, all the hours you put in, come to life, come to screen on a major network. And to see like your peers just like digging you up, like, yo, this is dope, this is cool. They posted on Instagram like, yo, my boys are part of this. And the moment for me was like seeing my name in the credits. Like, that's never happened to me before, for a major project like that. Like small ones for sure, but not that. That just, my parents would be very proud of that moment, and I'll never forget it. I appreciate Audrey and the guys so much for taking me along the ride.
Yeah. And really quick, talk to our listeners some of the benefits and some of the challenges of promoting content in Atlanta.
Well, I think the benefits is like Atlanta's kind of as I said with Team T, it's a family. Like, a lot of people are connected, a lot of people look out, a lot of people support. But as if, like, you're in the trenches, you're out there going to these events and they showing face, like, oh, what's up? Oh, yeah, I know you from somewhere, right? Like, yeah, man, so-and-so, and connecting with them. And they're going to show some love and, and show some support, but it's also saturated. There's a lot of people here doing the same stuff. There's like a lot of photographers out here. There's a lot of producers. There's a lot of rappers. There's a lot of videographers. How do you stand out? And also, like, sometimes someone can be a little bit more better, a little bit more talented, but you may have, other resources or bigger resources than them because you're out and about, you're connecting with people, you're shaking hands, you're networking. And also be genuine. You know what I'm saying? If you're a genuine and nice person, things will come back tenfold for you.
Well, I gotta say this. I hope your documentary, The Inside Story, I hope it wins an Emmy. We're going to put that into fruition and put that into the universe that is going to win an Emmy, because it's a very great documentary. I've seen it, and I just like how people like you and DJ Yogi and a few others that are behind the documentary put that story together. So we're going to put it out there in the universe that it's going to get an Emmy. One last question. I need one of those. Yeah, we're gonna bring it home for the ATL.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So one last question before we let you go, Marcel. Who are some of the content creators or DJs in Atlanta that you think are worth following?
Oh, Xavier Black and the Work. They do amazing content, amazing things. They got 2 or 3 parties going on right now called Wine, called The Groove, and called Smothered and Covered, and their content is really dope. So definitely follow them, Work Crew, Wine Global, and Smothered and Covered, and The Groove ATL on Instagram. Their content is super dope, and they're throwing super dope parties. I'm actually hosting one of their parties Thursday, and I'm throwing a party on my own Friday. Oh, campaign, baby! We're celebrating us.
Well, that's what's up, man. Well, congratulations and everything that you do. We really appreciate you for just coming into the platform as an artist and as a production assistant for a highly critically acclaimed documentary, and just doing a lot of great things in the community, and just using social media and so many platforms to your advantage to let people know and to remind people who you are and the work you have contributed to the culture. So with that being said, what are your social media handles? How can people follow you? How can people reach out to you, especially for those that haven't had your album yet but want to go and purchase your album or want to support your movement? How can people get in contact with you?
Yes. You can follow me at Live Light, that's Lite, Marcel, on Twitter and Instagram. Like my Facebook page, Marcel Alexander. My project 9-6, 4 Songs a Winner, Dream Love Party, all on all DSPs, digital streaming platforms. Just search Marcel Alexander. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Marcel Alexander. You can just type in Marcel Alexander and put in Higher, Higher, and that's one of my music videos. It'll take you right to the page. Like, subscribe, and just let me know what you think. And I'm always down to work with people, always down to spread the knowledge as well.
Absolutely, man. Well, Marcel Alexander, we really appreciate you for coming on the BV Mobile Apps podcast to share so much wealth of information as it pertains to content creation. And any last remarks before we let you go? Any last remarks or any last tip or advice you want to share to our content creators out there?
Keep going. I've seen dark days, but I just stayed true to myself, and I just believed in myself, and I got, more stuff to come, and God is great all the time. I appreciate the time, Sean. Real talk.
Thank you. We will talk, and tell Yogi I said, what's up?
I got you. Be blessed, brother.
All right, you too. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Marcel Alexander, musician and PA to the documentary series or content, The Inside Story, in which you can check it out on HBO Max as well as on TNTdrama.com/The Inside Story. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the BV Mobile Apps podcast with your host, Sean Garvey. Make sure you follow me on all your social media platforms at Sean Garvey ATL, Twitter, and on Instagram, as well as on Facebook at Sean Garvey. And remember, folks, you can get your app customized by the great folks over at BV Mobile Apps today. All you have to do is go to bvmobileapps.com for more information, and you can also follow BV Mobile Apps on all your social media platforms at BV Mobile Apps. Once again, I am Sean Garvey, ladies and gentlemen, the official mobile app provider for the Fleet DJs, Nerve DJs, and Core DJs. Stay tuned. We got more information on the BV Mobile Apps at the end of this program on Beatbreak 87 FM in Atlanta. And once again, make sure you follow BV Mobile Apps on all social media. Thank you so much, and we really appreciate you for tuning in to the BV Mobile Apps podcast, and we look forward to hearing from you again. Take care and have a great day.
It's a new year, it's a new day, we're starting it over, starting the day.
Thank you for listening to the BV Mobile Apps podcast with your host, Sean Garvey. For more information about BV Mobile Apps, visit the website, bvmobileapps.com. Don't forget to follow BV Mobile Apps on social media at BV Mobile Apps. Tune in again next time on the BV Mobile Apps podcast.